Hello, everyone. Here there is a passage followed by just one question, question number one. I want you to read the entire passage. You can pause this video here. If you want, you can take the screenshot and take your own time and read the passage and solve question number one. I'll also show the remaining questions. Those slides will come after one after another. They will remain there for a few seconds. You can pause the video, try the remaining questions. In fact, there are five questions, and now all the five slides will appear one by one. Right? So solve these questions, all the five questions, and then come back for the explanation. Watch the explanation as well. This is the last question. Try this last question as well. All right. I hope you have attempted all the five questions. Now, let me start explaining the question number one. Now, this question number one asks you uh, the reason behind mentioning Spain in the passage. You need to read the question very, very carefully. The author cites Spain. Cites means mentions. So the author mentions Spain in the passage in order to invalidate which of the following notions. Notions means beliefs. A notion is a belief. So there is a belief that author wants to invalidate. It means that he wants to say that that belief is wrong, right? So which belief the author wants to invalidate by mentioning Spain? That is what is the question. Now let's see where this Spain is mentioned as an example, right? It is in this second last paragraph, there is a mention of Spain. Okay, now let us read this second last paragraph. The second last paragraph says much of this trade. Now you know that if you have read this paragraph, you must be knowing that this is about trading shark. So much of this trade originates in East Asia, where shark's fin sells for up to 100 euro a ball. This is a sign of great wealth and rank, but that's not really important at this moment. Let us see where the Spain is mentioned. The Spain is mentioned here. And this is part of a very long sentence. That sentence starts with this word but. And I always tell you that this word but is a very, very important clue word or a magic word. So what this sentence says, you should always concentrate what is written after but. So what is written after but? If you believe that this is yet another problem for which the Chinese can be blamed and the Europeans absolved, consider this: the world's major importer of sharks is Spain. So it is written here, if you believe that. And what is the question asked? What is the notion? What is the belief that the author wants to invalidate? So this notion is this particular belief. So what is that belief? This is yet another problem for which the Chinese can be blamed and the Europeans absolved. Now let's see that you don't know what absolved means. But when you have such a pair, blamed and absolved, joined by and, then it is very clear that the word absolved must be opposite to blamed. So for the shark trade problem, if Chinese are blamed, then Europeans are not blamed. This is what is the belief, that for the shark trade problem, Chinese should be blamed and Europeans should not be blamed. And if this is what is your belief, then the author says, consider this: the world's major importer of shark is Spain. Now, Spain is a European country. If the world's major importer of shark is Spain, then the author is saying that your notion, this belief that Europeans should not be blamed is wrong. So this particular belief, the author wants to invalidate by using the example of Spain. So now we have to see which option says that the Chinese are blamed for the shark trade and Europeans are not blamed for the shark trade. Which option says this? Let us see now the options. Now, option A, the European Union has banned shark trading. This is completely irrelevant. The particular sentence is not of European Union. It is not about banning either. So it is eliminated. B. East Asia is the hub of shark trading. Now this is also eliminated. Now remember, European Union and East Asia, both of them are very general words. It is about China and Europe, not European Union and East Asia. So option A and B are eliminated. Always remember, when the particular sentence is very specific, don't choose the options that are general. So now the answer should be either C, because C said Chinese, or D, which is talking about Europeans. Now let us see what option C says. The Chinese are responsible for the increasing demand and consumption of marine food, and this is very important. Marine food is seafood, but the whole paragraph is particularly about shark food or shark trading. Let us look at here. What is written? The world's major importer of sharks. So here it is about specific marine animal, whereas C option is in general saying marine food. So this is again eliminated. So we use the same technique, general specific, to eliminate the option C as well. Now the answer should be option D. What D says? The Europeans are not guilty of importing shark trade. So that is correct. And Europeans are not guilty of shark trade means Europeans are not guilty, which means they are not blamed. They are absolved. They are absolved. They are blamed. This is what is the belief. And this belief author wants to invalidate by giving the example of Spain. Therefore, the answer of question number 1 is option D. All right, now let us look at question number 2. The question number 2 says commercial species of shellfish in the Western Atlantic have been obliterated. You need to know the meaning of obliterated. Obliterated means completely destroyed. So let me write here. To obliterate something is to destroy something completely. So commercial species of shellfish have been obliterated, have been destroyed because. So the reason is asked. The cause of the complete destruction of commercial species is asked here. This is in fact a fairly easy question. The answer of this question is in this paragraph itself. Let's read this paragraph. That in terms of impact of both ecology and animal welfare, shark fishing could be the planet's most brutal industry, right? So this paragraph talks about the brutal effect of shark trading. Now let us look at the last 3 lines of this paragraph, in which the elimination of commercial species of shellfish is mentioned. Let us look at the last 3 lines. Since the large sharks were removed from coastal waters, the rays that they preyed on have multiplied, right? So sharks here eat rays. Rays are again a type of fish. So it is very simple. Sharks eat rays, right? Now sharks are disappearing because of the shark trading, right? So now these rays also must be increasing. Now what is written further? That the rays have multiplied tenfold and have wiped out all the commercial species of shellfish. So the increase in rays has caused the destruction of commercial species. So the answer of this question number 2 is clearly option D. This is in fact a very simple question here. Because the answer is given in this paragraph straightforward. So the answer of question number 2 is the last option D. I don't have to even explain why other options are not the answer, because they are so irrelevant. For example, imbalance, which is mentioned in B, irrelevant. A disastrous consequence of shark finning, it is too specific, it is eliminated. Of the growing demand and consumption of seafood, very general. So either this is too general, this is specific. So option A and C are eliminated. The answer of question number 2 is the last option, D. Let's look at now question number 3. The question number 3 is specifically about the first paragraph. In the first para, the author. So the question is asking what is the main idea of the first paragraph. Now let's read the first paragraph. If these animals lived on land, there would be a global outcry. Now these animals, even the author begins with these animals, you understand the reference of these animals by reading the rest of the paragraph. These animals, which means he is talking about sea animals, marine animals. So if these animals lived on land, there would be a global outcry. Which means that if obviously sea animals cannot live on land, right? So the author is in a way suggesting that it is the land animals, that actually draws the attention of the globe, of the world. Sea animals, or the disappearance of sea animals, marine life, doesn't draw that kind of attention. So the first statement itself gives you a clue. If you think over it, right, you will understand it. So if these animals lived on land, there would be a global outcry. But the great beasts roaming the open seas summon no such support. So now here it is clearly given that the seas, beasts roaming the open seas. So sea animals don't get the kind of support that land animals get, right? So this is what is the crux of the first paragraph. After that, he simply gives the example, right? So the in fact, there is a word, the conservation status, used in the first paragraph, right? So he says sharks, etc., should have the conservation status of giant panda of the snow leopard, right? So in short, he says that the kind of support that land animals get when it comes to conservation, right, the same support is not given to sea animals. Now, if you read the first paragraph, this main idea is fairly clear. Now, let's look at options. Option A says the author opines that marine animals don't get the same conservation status as land animals get. Clearly mentioned, clearly written in option A. Option A should be the answer. Now let's look at option B. The author laments means, complains. The stepmotherly treatment meted out to marine life by environmentalists. Now here there is no mention of any kind of environmental person in the first paragraph at all. He is not blaming any particular kind of people. So the unnecessary mention of environmentalists is incorrect. The option B is eliminated. C. The author wonders why there is a global outcry over the conservation of land animals at the cost of marine life. Now, this is again incorrect. The author does not say that the marine life is the cost that we pay in order to conserve the land animals. This is incorrect, right? So the author is not talking about any kind of price that we pay for the conservation of land animals. In fact, he is discussing the unfair treatment given to marine animals when it comes to the conservation status. So C is eliminated. D. The author condemns the double standards in the conservation of animals of the seas. Now, the word double standard is a very, very vague word. It is not clear what exactly that double standard is. Is it related to trading or is it related to something else? Now, the passage clearly mentions a particular double standard, and that is conservation status. So when the paragraph uses something specific word, don't choose the option that uses vague or general words such as double standard. So the answer of question number 3, option A, not the option D. Many times people here get confused between A and D. Now always remember, when you have an option which gives the clear terminology, don't choose the option that gives the terminology which is very vague. So the answer of question number 3 is option A. Okay, now question number 4. Question number 4 looks difficult, but it is not. The question number 4 is, which of the following statements can be supported by information provided in the passage? Now, such questions are actually time consuming because you have to check each and every option and its correctness by going back to the paragraph, finding where it is mentioned, and finding whether the option is correctly interpreting the given statement of the author. So that we have to see it very carefully. So first of all, when you look at such options, first pick up an option which giving some sort of statistics or some sort of a fact, because that becomes very easy for you to find out. Now here I'll pick up option C here because I can clearly see there is 5% number given in option C. Right. So if you give a quick glance at the passage, you will come to know that particular 5% word is given here. I hope you can see. Now let us see the difference between option C and the statement. If there is no difference, then the answer is clearly C. We can easily see that C option is this option that is supported by the passage. But there is a difference if you closely look at them. What option C says, the demand for shark fins in Spain has been going by up 5% annually, right? Now, what is written in option C? The demand for shark fins in Spain. Whereas what the passage says, the global demand for shark fins is rising by 5%. So there is a slight difference. In fact, it is a big difference if you closely observe. Demand for shark fins in Spain is a particular country, whereas the passage says global demand. So clearly option C is eliminated. Now let us look at option A. The cost of shark fin soup in East Asia is as much as the cost of caviar in Europe. Now let us look at whether the cost is similar or not. Now if you look at this particular comparison is slightly hinted here in this second last paragraph, at the beginning of the second last paragraph. Much of this trade originates in East Asia, where shark's fin soup, which sells for up to this particular rate, is a sign of great wealth and rank, like caviar in Europe. Now here you need to remember that the cost is not compared. The cost is not compared. What is compared is the wealth and rank. So shark's fin soup and caviar in Europe, they are compared on the basis of wealth and rank, not on the basis of cost. And whereas the option A compares them on the basis of the cost, so A option is also eliminated. Now let us look at the last option, E. The Spanish and the Japanese are at loggerheads. You need to know the meaning of this word loggerheads. To be at loggerheads with each other is to fight with each other. Fight. I write here, fight. Okay. Now, are the Spanish and the Japanese fighting with each other? Now, let us look at the last paragraph. The last paragraph says the Spanish defend their right to kill rare shark as fiercely, which means aggressively, as the Japanese defend their right to kill rare whales. So, both Spanish and Japanese are defending their rights aggressively. Their own rights, they are defending their own rights aggressively. That does not mean that they are fighting with each other. So option E is eliminated. The answer of question number 4 is last option D. That says sharks are an endangered species. Now, in fact, this is what is the main idea of the passage. The whole passage is about, sharks are getting extinct slowly. They are at danger. They are at risk of getting extinct. And if you solve such questions by, focusing on the main idea, then you don't have to use elimination much, because if you use the elimination technique too much, then it becomes a very time consuming question. So when you read the passage, you should always try to get the focus. Once you get the focus, even such time consuming questions become easy. The answer of question number 4 is option number 4D. All right, now let us look at this last question. The last question is asking you the link between the third paragraph and the first paragraph. This is the first paragraph and this is the third paragraph. What is the link between them? Now, we already have discussed in the previous question that the first paragraph is talking about the conservation status. Land animals get the conservation status, get the attention. However, the marine animals don't get the same conservation status that land animals get. That is what is the first paragraph. Now, let us see what the third paragraph says so that we find the link between them. Let us look at the third paragraph. Third paragraph says, you respond with horror when you hear of Chinese feasts of bear and tiger, right? So you respond with horror when you hear of Chinese feast of these land animals. But these are of no different as far as conservation is concerned. Whenever there is a word but, you should always focus on the word but, because it is after the word but you find the focus. See, whenever you solve such question, the link between two paragraphs, first identify what is the focus of one paragraph and identify the focus of the other paragraph and see what is the difference or similarity between those focus points. Now, the focus of this paragraph is after but. Before but, what is written? That you respond with horror when when land animals are killed and eaten. Tiger is a land animal. But there are no different, but these are no different, which means these land animals are no different as far as conservation is concerned. As far as conservation is concerned, from eating shark's fin soup, right? So again, the author repeats the same point that these land animals are not different from marine animals, or marine animals are not different from land animals as far as the conservation is concerned, right? So when it comes to the conservation, marine animals don't get the kind of importance that land animals get, and it is sheer repetition of what is written in the first paragraph. So the answer of this last question, question number 5, is the second option B. It reiterates a point of view on an issue. Reiterates means repeats a point of view. Now let us look at other options. Many people choose option A. It provides an example to prove a point. Now remember, the author has already proven that point of conservation in the first paragraph. Right? The second paragraph does not give an example. It's not giving an example. It is simply repeating the point, right? Because enough examples have already been given in the first paragraph. So option A is not the answer. Plus, he does not say in the third paragraph, for example, etc., right? He repeats the same point of conservation in terms of killing and eating animals, right? So slight context changes, but the point remains same. C and D options are easily eliminated. Option C says it elaborates on a suggestion raised earlier. There is no suggestion given in the first paragraph, so option C is eliminated. It draws a comparison between two situations. There are no two situations which author compares, so option D is eliminated. The answer of this last question is option B. The author simply repeats the same point that he has given in the first paragraph.